Today we're going to be making my grandmother's famous sticky rice. And so we're going to start off with peeling our scallions. And you can see my mom on the side helping out too. And so we're going to peel this, and I like to cut like a little sliver of the outside opening, then it's easier to peel for the first skin. And so it's like this nice smooth outside, and it's much easier to peel the outside skin piece by piece, which can get really irritating. And after that we're gonna chop them and dice them into little pieces, and then we're gonna fry them and to savor them into this nice scallion oil. You can see my grandmother on the side telling me how to, properly dice the scallions, and to direct me for the next order, which is to prepare a hot oil and to put our scallions, minced scallions, inside, and add a little bit more oil just to make sure it doesn't dry out too fast, because you really need that oil because we're going to use them for later on to cook and for the sticky rice, which really is important because it helps bring out that scallion aroma. And so we're gonna get our pork belly, and we're gonna add a little bit of the spring onions and a little bit of wine just to clean it off with the alcohol and everything, and let it boil. And then you don't have to cook it very thoroughly, you just need to get the outside to cook a little bit, and then we're gonna take them out. On another side note, remember to not throw this broth away. We're gonna use this pork belly broth later on. See me just chopping the pork belly that we just cooked earlier into bite-sized pieces. And preferably when you pick out these pork bellies, you would sometimes want to get the ones with more fat on it, because you can use that fat to cook with the scallions as we did earlier, and to create, use that, pork fat to also induce more fat. And I think this entire recipe really relies on these types of like scallions and the pork fat. It just helps really bring out the flavors into it, and so it just really, you can definitely taste it later on as you try the sticky rice, and it doesn't taste as plain, so you can definitely taste the nice scallion and the pork aroma inside it. So that's why we really need that pork fat, and to fry the scallions and to keep that oil too. So in my grandma's recipe, we're gonna use pork belly, shiitake mushrooms, bamboo shoots, and scallions, and dried oysters. And as you can see, we are just using our chopsticks and stirring it around, trying to let it cook and simmer to, get that aroma out, which just smells really nice in person. So hopefully you guys could try it out and cook it. And for the seasoning, we're gonna need 5 spice powder, cinnamon, and a little bit of soy sauce, and a bit of sugar, I think. So as you can see, we're adding our 5 spice, and we added our sugar, as you can see, on the top of the powdery orange brown color. Oh, and we're gonna need some white pepper. I'm gonna stir that around. And on the side, I'm gonna chop up my bamboo shoots, which we almost forgot. And I'm gonna quickly chop that real quick, and I'm quickly gonna add that inside the pot. So here my grandma is going to add a little bit of the shiitake mushroom water from earlier. I don't know if you kept that, but she also added the pork broth. And the pork broth is just there to, give that rich, deep flavor of that pork that we used and cooked into this really nice broth. And that's going to help deepen that flavor into the rice that is going to be soaking that broth into it. And now we're going to use this string that I'm holding, and we're going to use around about in 2 arms length of it to tie around the sticky rice, and we're gonna need around 5 strings. You can obviously do more if you want to. It's just that we prefer to do around 5 to 6 sticky rice into one batch. And so basically you're gonna tie that, and then around like leaving up to like about 4 to 5 inches in the top, and just tying that into a knot. Then you can use that and then leave it off the pot. So it's easier to, have more control into grabbing the batches from the pot, and because it's in boiling hot water, so you definitely don't want to touch that, really hot string. And then close to you might burn yourself basically. And then so using that, it's easier to hold and to grab the sticky rice out of the pot. And so here I am just cutting and trying to measure out the length and tie it into this knot to match up with the previous ones that my grandmother made to help, make as a reference. We're gonna soak the bamboo leaves in the water, and as well as our sticky rice in a bowl of water. And what we're gonna do is to grab a sponge, and probably you need one of those gloves, because sometimes these bamboo shoots can give you like these cuts and they're pretty nasty. And so once you're gonna finish soaking them and cleaning them, you're gonna probably get a mat outside, or you can use a baking tray. It doesn't really matter. So I'm using this mat outside because since the outside is pretty warm and there's this nice sun, so we're gonna leave them outside to dry. And you don't want them to get really dry because it's gonna be really hard, because you're gonna use these bamboo leaves to wrap around the sticky rice. So you just want to leave them off and to let them dry just for like probably a minute or so, I think, because it really depends on how hot outside. And you're gonna use these chopped minced salted shrimp that I chopped yesterday, and we're gonna put it in some oil. And you let it stir around, and you can see my grandma on the side, and I'm just stirring the salted shrimp in the pot. Let it to bring out that shrimp flavor out. Switch your hand, stir, and a little bit before that, you're gonna add a little bit of that scallion pork belly that we used yesterday, just a little bit, not too much. And that's just gonna help with the aroma, because all of this is really important for the sticky rice, because your sticky rice wants to bring out that really nice deep flavor. So all of this is important, and it really takes patience. And so we're gonna add our sticky rice and let it stir around. Season this with some hondashi, which is just like this I think it's made from fish, but it doesn't taste fishy. It's just for like sweetening things. And here you can see my grandma wrapping the sticky rice, and I'm gonna join and help her out. And I'm also gonna learn how to wrap a sticky rice, which we typically do this every summer for the Dragon Boat Festival as part of our Chinese holidays, and which is usually around, according to the Lunar New Year, around 5th of May, which is obviously not today, but we're still in May, and it's like, and then it's the Lunar New Year, so it's any around the second week of May, I would say. And so she finished up her first batch, and basically what you're trying to do is to take 2 bamboo leaves, preferably one bigger leaf and one small leaf, and so you're gonna have the 2 stems pointing outwards, and you're gonna have the small leaf around a third of the bigger leaf, and you're trying to fold that. And you can see I have my 2 leaves. Probably better if it was smaller. I think these leaves that we got today were, I think almost every leaf was around the same size, so it was a lot harder to wrap the sticky rice today, but yeah. And so you're trying to fold them into this pocket, like almost like this triangle shape, and you're gonna put a thin layer of the sticky rice, and you're gonna add some of the I guess stuffing, I would call it, I guess. So it would have the shiitake mushrooms, the pork belly, the oyster, and the bamboo shoots. And you wanna after putting that in, you're gonna put another layer, a thin layer of the sticky rice, and you want to fold the top of the leaves, and remember to hold it very tightly. You don't want it to be too loose, and you're gonna press it down, and that's gonna help you, make everything neat and organized, and it helps prevent any of the sticky rice to fall out when it's boiling. So yeah. just to repeat myself, and once again, you're gonna have, you know, your 2 leaves, preferably one is bigger and one is smaller, and you're gonna have the stems out, and then you're gonna fold them into this pocket, and then make sure it's all pressed and very neatly tight. And you can also see my grandma on the side, who is definitely doing it more properly than I'm doing it for sure. And so you can see her folding it and into this pocket. And how to make sure that you're doing it correctly is to see that the smaller piece is definitely gonna leave this huge gap with the bigger leaf, and then so you're gonna definitely see it, the smaller leaf on top and then the longer leaf on the bottom, and you can totally see that gap. And that way it helps make the pocket to stuff the sticky rice and everything a lot more than just having like this really tiny like space and basically you can't put anything inside it. So that's how you know you're doing it correctly. And of course you can see that thin layer of sticky rice, and then you're going to add some of the stuffing, and then you're going to top that with another thin layer of sticky rice. We're gonna have our steaming boiling pot of water, and we're gonna put our batches of sticky rice inside, and you could cook up to 3 batches depending how big your pot is. And then after, you know, around I would say 13 minutes or so, depending how big your sticky rice is. If they're smaller, definitely less time, around 10 minutes I would say. If they're bigger, definitely like 15 minutes tops. And so you're gonna leave them, and then you're gonna take them out. And here we're just gonna take out our sticky rice and put it on a baking tray, because this is really boiling hot, so you don't want to burn yourself. And so yeah. And for the final test, to taste it, and this is what it looks like on the inside. Which is this nice, you know, neat triangular shape, which is a very traditional shape for sticky rice. And my grandmother has been using this recipe for a very long time, which has been passed down by her mother, my great-grandmother. And so this recipe is very special, and I can't emphasize how much I love this sticky rice. And I would choose the sticky rice over any other sticky rice, so that says a lot. So thank you for watching.